The Force is light and full of shadows. Before we dive in, check the link in the description if you want exclusive Timelines members-only videos you won't find on YouTube, all on our Patreon. Count Dooku, meals on the deck. Wrists bound, 2 lightsabers at his throat, blue blades crossed, humming inches from his skin. Anakin Skywalker stands above him, young, powerful, eyes bright with victory. Chancellor Palpatine sits in his chair, watching, smiling that grandfatherly smile the masked Dooku knows so well. Good, Anakin. Good. Palpatine's voice is warm, encouraging. Kill him. Kill him now. Dooku looks up at his master, at Darth Sidious, the man he served for 13 years, and he sees it, the calculation in those eyes, the cold dismissal, the absolute certainty that Dooku is expendable. The realization crashes through him like a supernova. I was never the apprentice. I was the audition. Anakin hesitates. The blades waver. Palpatine's voice hardens. Do it. The lightsabers swing. Dooku feels the heat. The pressure. Then nothing. His head separates from his body. Tumbles. Falls. In that final second, consciousness fading, the Force slipping away, one thought crystallizes with absolute clarity. Treachery is the way of the Sith. Darkness. Dooku's consciousness floats in void. No body. No light. Just thought he replays his life in reverse, every moment recontextualized by betrayal. Sidious recruiting him on Sereno. The promises. The power. The vision of a galaxy remade. You were grooming Anakin the entire time. I was just keeping the seat warm, leading the Separatists, orchestrating the Clone Wars, believing he was building something new. You were using me to destroy the Republic. Then you discarded me like a broken tool. Leaving the Jedi Order, abandoning everything he believed. For what? To die on my knees while you smiled? The rage builds. Not hot, not wild, cold, surgical, aristocratic fury refined to a razor edge. A single vow forms in the void. I will destroy you. I will erase you from existence. I will unmake everything you built. The Force whispers. Then wake up. Light explodes through the darkness. Dooku gasps. His eyes snap open. He's sitting upright, heart pounding, breathing hard. He's in a meditation chamber. Small, simple, stone walls and soft lighting. The Jedi Temple. Dooku looks down at his hands, young, smooth, unmarked by age or lightning scars. He touches his face. No beard, skin firm and unwrinkled. He stands, crosses to a polished metal panel on the wall, sees his reflection. 15 years old, dark hair, sharp features, the face he hasn't seen in 70 years. A voice calls from outside the chamber. Padawan Dooku, Master Yoda is waiting. Dooku's hand moves to his neck, touches the skin. Whole, uncut. The Force pulses around him, clear, bright, untainted by decades of dark side corruption. He understands. He's been given a second chance, returned to the beginning. To the moment he became Yoda's Padawan. Dooku looks at his young reflection. His eyes are ancient, knowing, dangerous. Then I will not waste it, he says quietly. Sidious, I'm coming for you. He pauses. A cold smile touches his lips. But you don't exist yet. Chapter 2. The Perfect Student. Jedi Council Chamber. High above Coruscant. Dooku stands in the center of the circular room. Yoda sits in his chair, ancient eyes studying the young Padawan. Other council members are present via hologram. This is not a full session, just a master checking on his newly chosen apprentice. Yoda's ears twitch. Troubled, you seem. Disturbed. Dreams did you have? Dooku chooses his words carefully. The truth, but filtered. I dreamed I fell to darkness, Master. I dreamed I betrayed everything the Jedi stand for. I dreamed I became a monster. Yoda's expression doesn't change, but his presence in the Force sharpens. A warning from the Force, perhaps. Heed it, you must. I will never fall, Master. Dooku bows deeply. Perfect form. Perfect respect. I swear it on everything I am. Yoda watches him for a long moment. Sense something in you, I do. Different. Changed. As if seen much you have. Perhaps the Force showed me what I could become if I strayed from the path. I will not stray. Yoda taps his gimmer stick. Train you I will, but watch you closely I must. Great potential in you there is. But potential for what? Unclear it remains. Dooku bows again. Says nothing. Yoda is the most perceptive Jedi alive. Dooku must be flawless. Come, Yoda stands. Begin your training we shall. They walk through the temple together, master and apprentice. Dooku has walked these halls 10,000 times. But now, everything is different. No clone troopers. No war. No shadow of Sidious poisoning the Force. Just peace. The Jedi Order at its height, Yoda leads him to a training room. Show me what you know. Blue Blade. He falls into Form 2, Makashi, the elegant dueling form he mastered as a Sith. Then stops himself. Too perfect. Too refined. A 15-year-old shouldn't move like that. He adjusts. Makes it rougher. Less precise. The skill is there, but he hides its full depth. Yoda watches. Says nothing. But his eyes miss nothing. They spar. Dooku lets Yoda dominate. Lets himself be pushed back. Makes mistakes a Padawan would make. But not too many. He needs to be exceptional. Just not impossibly so. After an hour, Yoda calls a halt. Natural talent you have. But raw. Much training you need. I will dedicate myself completely, Master. Already you do. Yoda's gaze is penetrating. Driven you are. Determined. Why? Because I saw what I could become, and I refuse to let that future exist. Yoda nods slowly. Good. Use that fear, but do not let it consume you. I won't, Master. The dream showed me the cost of falling. That knowledge makes me immune. It's a lie, but a necessary one. That night, Dooku kneels in his quarters. Small room, simple bed. Meditation mat. He pulls out a datapad, begins making notes. Lists. Plans. Timeline, 86 BBY. Current status, Palpatine. Age 2. Born 84 BBY, infant on Naboo. Darth Plagueis. Active Sith Master. Operating as Higo Damask. Sifo-Dyas. Fellow Padawan. Age 15. Alive and healthy. Clone Army. Doesn't exist. Won't be commissioned for 54 years. Separatist crisis. Won't happen for 64 years. Primary objectives. Prevent Plagueis from training Palpatine. Protect Sifo-Dyas. I murdered him in the original timeline. Ensure Qui-Gon Jinn becomes a true Jedi, not the flawed master I made him. Locate and save Anakin Skywalker when the time comes. Dismantle the Sith Grand Plan before it begins. Immediate actions. Perfect my cover as Yoda's ideal Padawan. Shield my thoughts from all Force users. Build reputation and trust within the Order. Monitor Plagueis' activities. Cultivate strategic relationships. Dooku stares at the list. 70 years. He has 70 years to change everything. Most people would despair at the wait. Dooku feels only cold satisfaction. Patience is a Sith virtue, and he was a very patient Sith. Over the following months, Dooku becomes Yoda's star pupil. He excels in lightsaber combat, but not so much that it seems unnatural. He demonstrates wisdom beyond his years, but frames it as insight from his warning dream. He volunteers for the most difficult missions, but always with humility. Other Padawans whisper, he's perfect. Too perfect. But the masters see only dedication. Yoda himself tells the council, promising young Dooku is, perhaps my greatest student. Dooku cultivates friendships. Sifo-Dyas especially. His best friend in both timelines. The man he will murder in 50 years. Except he won't. Not this time. Sifo-Dyas is brilliant, prophetic, troubled by visions. The council dismisses him, but Dooku never does. I believe you, Dooku tells him one evening. Your visions are real. The other masters think I'm seeing shadows. The future is not fixed. Your visions show possibilities. We can change them. You really think so? I know so. In private, alone in his quarters, Dooku practices Sith techniques. Form 7, Juyo, Force Lightning, Tutaminis, Mind Domination. Not to use them, to remember them, to understand them. He knows Sidious's strategies because he lived them. He knows the weaknesses of the Jedi because he exploited them. Now he will use that knowledge for the light. I was a Sith Lord, he whispers to the empty room. Now I will use that darkness to save the Jedi from themselves. He meditates, reaches into the Force, feels the galaxy. Somewhere on Naboo, a child takes his first steps. Sheev Palpatine, future Darth Sidious. Right now, he's just a baby, innocent, unknowing. In 19 years, Plagueis will find him, train him, transform him into the most dangerous being in galactic history, unless Dooku stops it. I have time, Dooku says, decades. I will dismantle you piece by piece, Plagueis, and your would-be apprentice will never become Sidious. He closes his eyes, feels the weight of future knowledge, the burden of memories that haven't happened yet, but also the power, the certainty, the absolute control. Dooku smiles, cold, aristocratic, dangerous. Treachery is the way of the Sith, and I was the best there was. Chapter 3. Saving Sifo-Dyas. 10 years pass. Dooku is now 25, a Jedi Knight, one of the most respected members of the Order. His reputation is flawless. Diplomat, warrior, philosopher, Yoda's greatest success. But inside, Dooku carries the weight of murder. He watches Sifo-Dyas train with other knights, sees him laugh, sees him debate philosophy with the masters, sees him live, and remembers. Obadiah. 54 years in the future. The mission that killed Sifo-Dyas in the original timeline. Dooku, as Darth Tyranus, ordering the Pike Syndicate to shoot down his best friend's ship, standing over the wreckage, confirming the kill, taking over the Clone Army project, stealing Sifo-Dyas' legacy, using his death as a tool. The memory is acid in Dooku's mind, the worst thing he ever did, worse than leaving the Order, worse than serving Sidious, worse than all of it. He murdered his best friend. Never again, Dooku whispers to himself. In this timeline you live. The opportunity comes sooner than expected. Sifo-Dyas begins having visions. Terrible visions. A war consuming the galaxy. Jedi dying by the thousands. An army of identical soldiers. He goes to the council. We need to prepare. We need an army. The council dismisses him. Fear leads to the dark side, Master Sifo-Dyas. These visions may be false. Sifo-Dyas, frustrated, considers acting alone, commissioning the army in secret. This is the path that leads to his death. The clone army. The Sith manipulation. Everything. Dooku intervenes. Sifo, he says one evening. They're in the temple gardens. Alone. I need to talk to you about your visions. Sifo-Dyas looks relieved. You believe me. I do. But the answer isn't a secret army. Then what is it? Preventing the war itself. Dooku sits on a bench. Your visions show a possible future. But the future isn't fixed. If we act wisely now, that war never happens. How? By identifying the forces that would cause it. The corruption in the Senate. The corporate greed. The Sith shadows. Dooku meets his friend's eyes. Work with me. We'll expose the threats before they grow. We'll strengthen the Republic. We'll make your nightmare impossible. Sifo-Dyas considers this. The Council won't support us. Then we work quietly, diplomatically. We don't commission armies or break our vows. We just serve the Republic the way Jedi are meant to. It's a lie. Dooku knows the war will be manufactured by Sidious. But Sidious doesn't exist yet. Plagueis hasn't trained him. The grand plan hasn't started. All Dooku needs to do is ensure the pieces never fall into place. Sifo-Dyas nods slowly. I trust you, my friend. If you say there's another way, I believe you. Good. Then let me handle the politics. You focus on your Force visions. If you see threats emerging, tell me. I'll address them before they become crises. Over the following years, Dooku shadows Sifo-Dyas' career. When missions come that might be dangerous, Dooku volunteers to accompany him. When political situations arise that might put Sifo-Dyas at risk, Dooku intervenes. The mission to Obadiah, the one that killed Sifo-Dyas in the original timeline, is offered to Sifo-Dyas when he's 30. Dooku immediately steps in. I'll take that mission, Master. Sifo-Dyas is needed here for consultations on the Inchori crisis. The council agrees. Dooku goes to Obadiah instead. He meets with the Pike Syndicate, negotiates a trade agreement, leaves peacefully. No crash, no murder, no betrayal. Sifo-Dyas never goes to Kamino, never commissions a clone army, never creates the weapons Sidious would use to destroy the Jedi. That evening, Dooku returns to Coruscant. Sifo-Dyas meets him at the temple hangar. How did it go? Successfully. The Pikes have agreed to reduce their spice trafficking in Republic space. Thank the Force. I had a bad feeling about that mission. Dooku looks at his friend. Alive, healthy, unaware of the fate Dooku prevented. Your visions saved you, Sifo. They showed me where to focus my diplomacy. We make a good team. We always have. They walk into the temple together. Dooku feels something unfamiliar. Not satisfaction, not pride. Relief. Pure, clean relief. I didn't kill you this time, Dooku thinks. And I never will. That night, Dooku updates his datapad notes. Dooku stares at the list. One friend saved, one weapon prevented. But the real threat remains. Darth Plagueis, the Sith Master who taught Sidious everything. Dooku's jaw tightens. You're next, Plagueis. And unlike Sidious, I won't give you the luxury of a quick death. He closes his eyes, remembers the execution on the invisible hand, the betrayal, the dismissal, the cold realization that he meant nothing. Treachery is the way of the Sith, Dooku whispers, and you taught Sidious well, but I learned from both of you, and I remember everything. He stands, walks to the window, looks out at Coruscant's endless cityscape. Somewhere out there, Higo Damask operates in plain sight. Moon banker, corporate magnate, secretly the Dark Lord of the Sith. Dooku knows his face, his businesses, his networks, his strategies. In the original timeline, Plagueis found Palpatine when the boy was 19, trained him, molded him, created Darth Sidious. Then Sidious killed him on the night of his election as Chancellor. Dooku has 17 years before that recruitment happens. 17 years to destroy Plagueis completely. I won't kill you, Dooku says softly. That would be too merciful. I'll dismantle you. Financially, politically, socially. I'll take everything you've built and burn it to ash. And when you're broken and alone, when your grand plan lies in ruins, then you'll understand what it feels like to be betrayed by someone you trusted. His reflection in the window is young, strong, determined, but his eyes are ancient, cold. Sith. Dooku smiles. It's not a kind smile. The Count of Sereno is coming for you, Plagueis, and you don't even know I exist yet. 14 years later, 62 BBY. Dooku is 39 years old. A Jedi Master, member of the High Council. Renowned across the galaxy as diplomat, warrior, and philosopher. But tonight, he's not a Jedi. Tonight, he's the Count of Sereno. He stands in his family's estate on Sereno. The title passed to him when his father died 5 years ago. Dooku accepted it reluctantly. The Jedi frown on such worldly attachments. But he needed it. Needed the wealth, the connections, the aristocratic status. Because he's hunting a Sith Lord, and Sith Lords hide among the wealthy and powerful. Dooku adjusts his formal attire, not Jedi robes, an elegant suit, tailored, expensive, the clothing of a nobleman. He looks at himself in the mirror, no longer young, distinguished, handsome, cultured, perfect for moving in the circles where Higo Damask operates. Dooku boards his personal ship, not a Jedi vessel, his own, and sets course for Coruscant. He has an invitation, a Senate Banking Committee hearing. Higo Damask will be testifying about intergalactic banking clan regulations. Dooku will be there, as Count of Sereno, as a concerned nobleman interested in galactic finance. Not as a Jedi. Damask can't know the Jedi are investigating him. The Senate Building Committee Room 7. Senators fill the chamber. Corporate representatives, lobbyists, the machinery of Republic politics grinding forward. Higo Damask sits at the witness table. Tall, elegant, moon features composed and intelligent. Everything about him radiates sophistication and control. Dooku watches from the gallery, studies him. Invaders' memories, no, In his own memories as Tyrannus, he met Plagueis once, briefly. When Sidious introduced them after Dooku's fall, Plagueis had been dismissive. Viewed Dooku as a tool, a temporary apprentice until Sidious found someone better. The same way Sidious viewed Dooku. Treachery within treachery. Lies within lies. Dooku's jaw tightens, not with rage, with cold satisfaction. You have no idea what's coming, he thinks. After the hearing, there's a reception, senators mingling with financial representatives, politics and money flowing together like poison. Dooku approaches Damask with a glass of Alderaanian wine, moves with aristocratic grace. Hey go, Damask. I've been hoping to meet you. Damask turns, his eyes intelligent, calculating assess Dooku instantly. And you are? Count Dooku of Sereno. I serve the Jedi Order, but I maintain my family's financial interests. A Jedi and a nobleman. Unusual combination. I prefer not to limit myself to a single role. Damask's expression shows interest. You testified well before the committee. Your understanding of galactic economics is impressive for a Jedi. The Jedi serve the Republic. Understanding how the Republic functions, including its financial systems, seems prudent. Most Jedi are too busy waving lightsabers to concern themselves with such matters. Most Jedi haven't studied under Grandmaster Yoda for 25 years. Dooku sips his wine. He taught me to see the bigger picture. They talk philosophy, economics, the corruption of the Republic, the inefficiency of democracy. Dooku mirrors every view Damask expresses. Not obviously, suddenly, the way a skilled manipulator would. Because he knows exactly what Plagueis believes. He learned it from Sidious, and Sidious learned it from this man. By the end of the evening, Damask is intrigued. Count Dooku, I think we should continue this conversation. Perhaps over dinner? I would be honored. They part. Dooku returns to his ship. The moment he's alone, the aristocratic mask drops. His expression goes cold. Hookset, he says quietly. Over the following months, Dooku cultivates the relationship. Dinners with Damask, business discussions, philosophical debates, always as Count Dooku, nobleman, never revealing his Jedi investigation. Damask sees a kindred spirit, a cultured being who understands that the Republic is broken, that democracy is chaos, that order must be imposed. Dooku agrees with everything, encourages, validates, and investigates. He uses every resource, Jedi archives, Sereno intelligence networks, his own noble connections across the galaxy. He maps Damask holdings, every subsidiary, every shell company, every financial connection, the intergalactic banking clan, the Trade Federation, hundreds of corporations, all connected to Damask. Plagueis has built an empire, not of territory but of influence. Money flowing through channels he controls, politicians in his pocket, corporate leaders owing him favors. This is how the Sith operate now. Not armies, not fleets. Financial manipulation, political pressure, slow, patient control. Dooku understands it perfectly, because he helped execute the final stages of this exact plan. But you never finished it. Dooku whispers to himself. Sidious killed you before the Empire rose, and now I'll destroy it before you even complete the design. He doesn't plan to kill Plagueis. That would be too simple, too merciful. Instead, Dooku begins a different strategy. Audits, random Senate investigations into corporate finances, coincidental discoveries of irregularities. A shell company here, a questionable transaction there, nothing directly traceable to Damask. But close. Always close. Dooku uses his position on the Jedi Council, his reputation, his connections. The Force has revealed disturbing patterns in Republic finance, he tells the Senate. We must ensure transparency. He pushes for regulations, oversight, accountability, things that would never pass in a corrupt Senate. But Dooku has spent decades building credibility. When Count Dooku of Sereno, Jedi Master, demands investigation, people listen. Slowly, methodically, Dooku begins poisoning Plagueis' empire. A trade deal falls through, an investment collapses. A political ally distances themselves. Nothing catastrophic. Not yet. Just pressure. Constant, grinding pressure. Plagueis doesn't realize he's being hunted. doesn't know someone is systematically dismantling his life's work. But he will. 5 years later, 57 BBY, Dooku is 44. His investigation has reached critical mass. He stands in his Coruscant apartment, not temple quarters, a private residence, surrounded by datapads, financial reports, corporate structures, shell company webs, every piece of Plagueis' empire mapped, documented, ready. Sifo-Dyas enters. He's been helping with the investigation, though Dooku hasn't told him everything. Is it ready? Sifo-Dyas asks. Yes. Tomorrow, I present to the Senate Banking Committee everything we've found. Dooku, this will destroy Hego Damask. His entire financial network will collapse. I know. Why? I understand he's corrupt, but this seems personal. Dooku looks at his oldest friend. Can't tell him the truth. Can't explain that Damask is Darth Plagueis. Can't reveal that in another timeline, this man funded the clone army and orchestrated galactic genocide. Because he's dangerous, Dooku says simply. More dangerous than you know. Trust me, Sifo. This must be done. Sifo-Dyas studies him. I've known you for 40 years. You've never been wrong. I trust you. Thank you, my friend. The next day, Senate Banking Committee hearing. The chamber is packed. Senators, corporate representatives, financial journalists. Everyone wants to see what evidence the legendary Jedi Master has uncovered. Hego Damask sits at the witness table, composed, confident. He has no idea what's coming. Dooku testifies first. Not in Jedi robes, in his Count's formal attire. Speaking as a nobleman, not a monk. Gentlemen, I come before you today with disturbing evidence. For the past 5 years, I have investigated financial irregularities in the Republic. What I found is a pattern of manipulation spanning decades. He activates the holographic display. Corporate structures appear. Hundreds of companies, all connected, all flowing back to one source. Damask Holdings has systematically manipulated planetary currencies, influenced Senate votes through illegal campaign contributions, orchestrated trade disputes to benefit specific corporations, all while operating under the guise of legitimate banking. Journalists recording frantically. Damask's expression doesn't change, but Dooku sees it, the slight tension in his shoulders, the calculation in his eyes. These are serious accusations, Count Dooku. Do you have proof? I have 15 years of financial records, transaction logs, communications between Damask Holdings and known criminal organizations. Shell companies in the Outer Rim used for money laundering, all documented, all verified. He presents it all, every piece, methodically, precisely. By the end of his testimony, the committee is stunned. The chairman speaks. Hego Damask, how do you respond to these allegations? Damask stands, tall, elegant, controlled. Count Dooku has assembled an impressive collection of circumstantial evidence. But correlation is not causation. My business practices have always been. Your business practices, Dooku interrupts, have violated Republic law in 14 separate jurisdictions. I have provided documentation. The evidence speaks for itself. Damask's eyes lock onto Dooku's. For the first time, real emotion shows. Anger, confusion, and something else. Recognition. Not of Dooku specifically, but of the hunt, the trap, the realization that someone has been stalking him for years. Who are you really? Damask asks quietly. Dooku smiles, cold, aristocratic, dangerous. I'm the man who knows what you are, and I'm the man who will destroy everything you've built. The Senate banking clan is forced to act. Too much evidence, too much publicity. They launch a formal investigation, freeze Damask Holdings assets, distance themselves from the scandal. The intergalactic banking clan severs all ties with Damask. The Trade Federation backs away, corporate allies evaporate overnight. Within weeks, Plagueis' financial empire collapses. Not destroyed, he's too wealthy for that, but crippled, broken, politically toxic. Dooku watches it happen with cold satisfaction. But he knows Plagueis won't surrender. A Sith Lord never surrenders. 1 month later, private meeting, Coruscant Gardens, late evening. Damask requested it. Dooku agreed. They meet alone, ostensibly to discuss the situation. They walk through manicured paths, away from listening devices, away from witnesses. Damask speaks first. You've destroyed my life's work. Decades of planning, all of it undone in a single hearing. Why? Because I know what you are. Dooku stops walking, faces him directly. You're not just a corrupt banker. You're Darth Plagueis, Sith Lord, the last surviving member of Bane's lineage. Plagueis goes absolutely still. Impossible. How could you? Let's just say I've seen the future, and you're not in it. The future? You're claiming Force visions. More than visions. Knowledge. I know what you planned to build. I know you intended to train an apprentice. A boy from Naboo named Sheev Palpatine. I know you would have taught him to become Darth Sidious. I know you would have orchestrated the Clone Wars, destroyed the Jedi Order, and created a Sith Empire. Plagueis stares at him. You're insane. Am I? Then explain how I knew about your shell companies in the Outer Rim, how I knew about your connections to the Trade Federation, how I knew exactly where to strike to cripple you. You investigated. For 5 years, yes. Because I knew every move you would make. Because I've seen this plan executed, and I've dismantled it before you could even finish designing it. Plagueis' hand moves toward his robe, reaching for something, a weapon perhaps, or a comlink. Dooku doesn't move. You're thinking of attacking me, testing if I'm really Jedi or something else. Go ahead, try. Plagueis reaches into the Force. Doesn't attack, just probes, testing Dooku's defenses, and finds something unexpected. Dooku's shields are perfect, flawless Jedi discipline, but underneath, just for a moment, Plagueis feels something else. Darkness, knowledge, power that shouldn't exist in a Jedi Master. Plagueis withdraws. What are you? I was Darth Tyranus, Count Dooku who fell to the dark side, servant of Darth Sidious, your apprentice. I served the Sith for 13 years. Then I was executed, betrayed by the master I trusted, and the Force gave me a second chance, sent me back to this moment, to stop you before you begin. That's impossible. Yet here we are, your empire destroyed, your plans in ruins, your future apprentice still a child, untrained, and you, Plagueis, are finished. Processing. Calculating. Finally, if you truly have future knowledge, you know I won't stop. The Sith endure. Even if I fall, another will rise. Perhaps. But Sidious won't. Palpatine will never become a Sith Lord. I'll make certain of that, and without him, your grand plan dies. You can't watch him forever. I don't need to. I just need to ensure he never meets you. And since you're now politically toxic, financially ruined, and under Senate investigation, I think that's accomplished. Plagueis' jaw tightens. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Dooku turns to leave. Pauses. Oh, and Plagueis? In the original timeline, Sidious killed you, murdered his own master on the night of his election as Chancellor. Treachery is the way of the Sith. You taught him that. Just like you planned to betray him eventually. The rule of two is just sanctified murder, and I'm ending it here. He walks away, leaves Plagueis standing alone in the garden. 2 weeks later, Dooku receives a report. Higo Damask has fled Coruscant, gone to Megiddo, in hiding, without resources, without political power, without the ability to execute his plans. The Sith Grand Plan, stalled before it truly began. Dooku sits in his quarters, updates his notes. Status: 57 BBY. Plagueis, destroyed financially, in hiding on Megiddo, unable to train apprentices. Palpatine, age 27, still on Naboo, political career beginning but no Sith training. Sifo-Dyas, alive, healthy, serving the Order. Dooku, age 44, Jedi Master, High Council member, objectives completed. I saved Sifo-Dyas, out prevented Sidious's training. Next phase. Monitor Palpatine, ensure he never seeks out Plagueis. Take Qui-Gon Jinn as Padawan, 9 years from now. Prepare for Anakin Skywalker's birth, 16 years from now. Dooku stares at the list. 2 Sith Lords neutralized. The grand plan destroyed. But he knows the real work is just beginning. Palpatine still exists, he thinks. Still ambitious. Still dangerous. Even without Sith training, I'll need to deal with him eventually. But not yet. First, I have a different obligation. He looks at a small hollow image on his desk. A boy, 12 years old, Qui-Gon Jinn. In the original timeline, Dooku took him as Padawan, then corrupted him, warped his teachings, used him. Not this time, Dooku whispers. This time I'll be the master you deserved. 9 years later, 48 BBY. Dooku is 53 years old, still on the High Council, still one of the Order's most respected members. Today he stands in the temple training halls, watching initiates practice Form I, Shicho. He's here for a specific reason, to choose a Padawan. Yoda encouraged it. Ready, you are. A student of your own, you should take. But not for the reasons the Council thinks. He's here for one boy, Qui-Gon Jinn, 12 years old, tall for his age, independent-minded, powerful in the living force. Dooku watches him practice, sees the raw talent, the potential, the spirit, and remembers. In the original timeline, he took Qui-Gon as Padawan at exactly this age, trained him for 12 years, shaped him into a powerful Jedi. But Dooku had twisted that training, taught Qui-Gon to question authority, but for the wrong reasons, to distrust the Council, to serve Dooku's agenda, to focus on the living force, because it would make Qui-Gon easier to manipulate later. Every lesson had an ulterior motive, every teaching had poison in it. And when Dooku fell to the dark side, Qui-Gon had stayed loyal to the Order, but he'd been damaged, isolated, always the maverick, always alone. I did that to you, Dooku thinks. I broke you slowly, made you my weapon without you realizing it. Not this time. After practice ends, Dooku approaches the training master. I would like to test young Qui-Gon Jinn. Of course, Master Dooku. He's one of our most promising students. Qui-Gon is brought before him. The boy bows respectfully. Dooku studies him, sees not a tool, not a weapon, a person, a child who deserves better than what Dooku gave him before. Qui-Gon Jinn, I am considering you as my Padawan, but first I must understand how you think. Dooku gestures to a meditation mat. Sit with me. They sit, face to face. Tell me, Dooku begins, what does the Force mean to you? Qui-Gon considers carefully. The Force is life, energy. It connects all things. The Masters teach us to serve it, to follow its will. And do you believe the Force has a will? I think so. Sometimes I feel it guiding me, showing me things. The living Force. You have a gift for sensing it. Dooku leans forward. But tell me, Qui-Gon, if the Force guides you one way, and the Council orders you another way, which do you follow? It's a trap question. The answer reveals character. Qui-Gon thinks hard. I would try to find a path that honors both. The Council is wise, but the Force is the Force. What if you must choose? Then Qui-Gon meets Dooku's eyes. Then I would follow the Force. Because the Council is made of people, and people can be wrong. But the Force is always right. Dooku smiles. Not manipulation. Genuine appreciation. Excellent answer. Over the following weeks, Dooku tests Qui-Gon, lightsaber skills, Force sensitivity, intelligence, character. The boy passes every test, not because he's perfect, because he's real, honest, thoughtful. Dooku makes his decision. Takes Qui-Gon as his Padawan. The bonding ceremony is simple. Qui-Gon kneels. Dooku places his hand on the boy's head, pledges to train him, guide him, protect him. I will not fail you, Dooku says, and means it. The first lesson happens the next day. Dooku takes Qui-Gon to the training room, not the public halls, a private chamber. Today we begin your real education, not just lightsaber forms and Force meditation, but philosophy, understanding, wisdom. Qui-Gon listens intently. The Jedi teach many truths. Dooku begins. But they also teach many half-truths, many oversimplifications, and some outright errors. Master, tell me, what have you been taught about the dark side? That it's evil, corrupting, that we must resist it always. All true, but incomplete. Dooku sits. The dark side is not a separate force. It's emotion, passion, attachment, The Jedi fear these things because they can lead to corruption, but suppressing them completely isn't the answer either. Then, what is? Understanding them, accepting that you're a living being with feelings, and learning to acknowledge those feelings without being controlled by them. Qui-Gon looks confused. The Masters say, the Masters are afraid. And fear leads to rigid doctrine. Listen, Qui-Gon, you will feel anger. You will feel fear. You will love people. You will grieve. These are not weaknesses. They're part of being alive. The question is, will you let those emotions control you, or will you control them? I don't know. Good. Uncertainty is honest. Arrogance is dangerous. Dooku stands. I'm going to teach you something the Council doesn't want you to know. How to feel emotion without surrendering to it. How to love without possessing. How to be human and still be Jedi. Over the following years, Dooku trains Qui-Gon with wisdom he never had in the original timeline. He teaches lightsaber forms, not just Form I via Taru, but all forms. Understanding each, respecting each. He teaches diplomacy, not manipulation, but genuine conflict resolution. How to find peace, not impose it. He teaches the living force, not as rebellion against the Council, but as complement to the cosmic force. Balance, not division. And he teaches philosophy, real philosophy, not Sith propaganda disguised as wisdom. Power without compassion is tyranny, Dooku tells him during one lesson. Compassion without power is meaningless. You must have both, strength to act, wisdom to act rightly. Crows, thrives. They go on missions together, peace negotiations on Onderon, trade disputes in the Mid-Rim. Actual Jedi work, not Sith schemes. Dooku watches Qui-Gon become the Jedi he should have been. Thoughtful, independent, but not isolated, not damaged. One evening after a successful mission to Ryloth, they sit in their ship's common room. Qui-Gon asks, Master, do you believe in prophecy? Dooku considers his answer carefully. I believe the future is not fixed. I believe we shape it with our choices. Prophecy shows possibilities, not certainties. The Masters speak of a chosen one. Someone who will bring balance to the Force. Yes, and I believe such a person will be born. Soon, perhaps. Dooku looks at his Padawan, but balance doesn't mean destroying the dark side. It means finding equilibrium, understanding that light and dark exist in all of us, and choosing the light without denying the dark exists. You sound like you've thought about this a lot. I have. More than you know. Qui-Gon studies him. Sometimes you seem sad, like you're carrying a great weight. Dooku almost tells him, almost reveals the truth about time, memory, betrayal. Instead, perhaps I've simply lived long enough to see how fragile peace is, how easily it can be lost. That's why I fight so hard to preserve it, and why I'm training you to do the same. I won't let you down, Master. You already haven't. You've exceeded every expectation. Dooku places his hand on Qui-Gon's shoulder. In another life I failed you completely. I corrupted you, used you, but in this life, you'll be the Jedi you were always meant to be. Another life? Just a bad dream I once had. Forget I mentioned it. 12 years later, 36 BBY, Qui-Gon Jinn kneels before the Jedi Council. 24 years old, ready for his trials. He's completed every test, mastered every requirement, proven himself worthy. Dooku stands beside him, pride filling his chest. Not the false pride of possession, real pride, the kind a father feels for a son. The Council confers. Then Yoda speaks. Complete your trials you have. A Jedi Knight, you are now. Applause from the assembled masters. Qui-Gon stands. Dooku approaches. By the right of the Council, by the will of the Force, I declare you a Jedi Knight of the Republic. Dooku draws his lightsaber, cuts the Padawan braid. May the Force be with you, always. Qui-Gon bows deeply. Thank you, Master, for everything. Thank me by being better than I ever was, by serving the Force with wisdom I never had, by staying in the light. They embrace. Brief, respectful, but genuine. Later in private, Qui-Gon asks, will you take another Padawan? Eventually. In about 11 years, if my instincts are correct. A specific student. Yes, a boy who will be found on Tatooine. the most powerful Force-sensitive ever born. And he will need a better teacher than I was in than he would get otherwise. You speak as if you know the future. And perhaps that's why I fight so hard to change it. That night, alone in his quarters, Dooku updates his notes one final time. Dooku closes the datapad. 50 years of work, 50 years of patience, 50 years of surgical precision. And the hardest part is still ahead. Palpatine is still out there, Dooku thinks, still ambitious. In 4 years he'll engineer the Naboo crisis. Use it to become Chancellor. Not this time. He stands, walks to his window, looks out at Coruscant. I'm coming for you, Sheev Palpatine. And unlike Plagueis, I won't just destroy your career. I'll destroy your ambition, your future, everything you could have been. And I'll die before I let that monster exist again. 4 years later, 32 BBY, Dooku is 69 years old, Grand Master of the Jedi Order. Yoda has stepped back from active leadership, trusting Dooku's wisdom. The council chamber is tense. Emergency session. The Trade Federation has blockaded Naboo, Mace Windu reports. They claim it's in protest of taxation on trade routes, but something feels wrong about this. In the original timeline, this was Palpatine's masterstroke, the crisis that launched him to power. Palpatine, still senator of Naboo, orchestrated the blockade, manipulated the Trade Federation into invading his own planet, then used the crisis to call a vote of no confidence against Chancellor Valorum. The Senate elected Palpatine as the new chancellor, gave him emergency powers, started him on the path to becoming emperor. But that was with Sith training, with decades of preparation. This Palpatine is different. He's ambitious, charismatic, skilled at politics, but he's not Darth Sidious. He never learned Sith manipulation techniques, never studied the dark side. Still dangerous, but beatable. I will go to Naboo, Dooku says. This requires a personal touch. Mace frowns. Grandmaster, surely a younger Jedi. No, I know Naboo's politics intimately. I've dealt with Senator Palpatine for years. I'm the right choice. Then take someone with you. Dooku considers. In the original timeline, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan went. Qui-Gon died. Everything spiraled from there. I'll take Qui-Gon. He's ready for a mission of this importance. The council agrees. Within hours, Dooku and Qui-Gon board a ship to the Naboo system. On the journey, Qui-Gon asks, Master, what's really happening here? Dooku appreciates that Qui-Gon still calls him Master, even though they're both knights. Some bonds don't break. Senator Palpatine is making his move. He's been quietly building power in the Senate for years. This crisis will be his opportunity. Unless we stop him. You suspect he's behind the blockade? I know he is. I have evidence, not enough for Senate conviction, but enough to expose him politically. Dooku looks at his former Padawan, the man he raised right this time. Because I've seen what happens when ambitious men go unchecked. I've seen the cost. And I refuse to pay it again. They arrive at the Trade Federation flagship. Newt Gunray meets them nervously. Jedi, we did not expect. You didn't expect anyone to respond this quickly. Dooku finishes. Tell me, Viceroy, who ordered you to blockade Naboo? It was economic necessity. Dooku uses the Force. Not mind domination, just gentle persuasion. The truth, Viceroy. Gunray's resistance crumbles. A senator, from Naboo, Palpatine. He promised us legal protection if we applied pressure to force a regime change. Regime change? Against his own planet's government? He said Queen Amidala was too young, too naive. That Naboo needed experienced leadership. His leadership. Dooku records everything. Thank you, Viceroy. You've been most helpful. They evacuate Queen Amidala before the situation escalates. Get her safely to Coruscant. But Dooku doesn't stop there. He goes to Theed, Naboo's capital, to Palpatine's estate. Palpatine is shocked when Dooku arrives. Grand Master, what are you doing here? The Queen is safe, on her way to Coruscant to testify before the Senate. Dooku enters without invitation. About your attempted coup. The mask slips. Just for a moment. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. The Trade Federation confessed. You orchestrated this entire crisis. Plan to use it to overthrow Queen Amidala and install yourself as Naboo's leader. That's absurd. Why would I betray my own planet? Ambition. The same reason you've maneuvered for political power your entire career. The same reason you've cultivated relationships with corrupt senators. The same reason you've been positioning yourself for the chancellorship. You've been investigating me. For 20 years. Dooku pulls out a datapad. I have communications between you and the Trade Federation. Financial records showing illegal payments. Testimony from Gunray himself. Enough to destroy you politically, even if not enough for criminal prosecution. You're bluffing. Am I? Dooku activates the datapad. Palpatine's own voice plays back. The blockade must appear legitimate. Queen Amidala must seem incompetent. The Senate will demand new leadership. Palpatine's face goes white. You made one critical mistake, Dooku continues. You assumed you were smarter than everyone else, that no one would connect the pieces. But I've been watching you since you entered politics. Every move, every scheme, every manipulation. I know what you are, Sheev Palpatine. And what am I? A man who craves power above all else, who sees people as tools, who would sacrifice anything, even his own planet, to advance himself. In another life you might have become something truly monstrous. But in this life, you're just a failed politician who tried to coup his own government. Palpatine's hand moves toward his desk, reaching for something. Dooku's lightsaber ignites, blue blade between them. Don't. Palpatine freezes. You're threatening a senator. I'm preventing a traitor from escaping justice. Qui-Gon enters, having secured the perimeter. Master, I've contacted Naboo security. They're on their way. Excellent. Palpatine realizes he's trapped. No Sith training to call on. No dark side powers. Just a politician caught in a scheme. This isn't over, Palpatine says quietly. I have allies. Resources. You can't. I can. And I have. Dooku deactivates his lightsaber. Your political career is finished. The Senate will expel you. Naboo will prosecute you. And you'll spend the rest of your life answering for your crimes. Naboo security arrives, arrests Palpatine, removes him from his estate. Dooku and Qui-Gon return to Coruscant with Queen Amidala and the evidence. The Senate session is brutal. Palpatine tries to defend himself, but the evidence is overwhelming. He's expelled from the Senate, stripped of all offices, returned to Naboo in disgrace. The blockade is lifted. The Trade Federation faces sanctions. The crisis ends. Chancellor Valorum remains in power. No vote of no confidence. No Chancellor Palpatine. No path to emergency powers. Afterward, Qui-Gon finds Dooku on the temple balcony. Master, there's something I need to tell you. While rescuing Queen Amidala, we stopped on Tatooine for repairs. There was a boy there. Anakin Skywalker. His midichlorian count is over 20,000. Dooku's heart stops. Where is he now? Still on Tatooine. His mother is a slave. I wanted to free him, but we're going back. Immediately. And this time, we're freeing both of them. Tatooine, Mos Espa, Watto's junk shop. Dooku stands in the doorway, Qui-Gon beside him. Inside, a Toydarian flutters over a workbench. A woman, Shmi Skywalker, organizes parts. And a boy, 9 years old, tinkers with a droid. Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one, the boy who became Darth Vader. Dooku studies him, sees innocence, hope, potential, and remembers the monster he became, the suit, the mask, the mechanical breathing, the murders, the fall. Not this time, Dooku thinks. Not ever again. Watto notices them. Ah, Jedi, you come back. The boy's still here if you want. We want both slaves. Mother and son, name your price. That's 50,000 credits. Done. Dooku transfers the funds immediately. Republic credits. A fortune. Watto sputters. That is, the chips, will be removed. We're taking them to Coruscant for medical treatment. The chips will be safely extracted. It's not entirely a lie. Dooku knows Jedi healers who can remove the chips without triggering them. Watto, seeing the credits in his account, doesn't argue. Transfers ownership, provides the documentation. Shmi is crying. We're free. You are. Both of you. You'll never be slaves again. Anakin doesn't understand yet. Just know something important is happening. Are you here to train me? To be a Jedi? Yes, Anakin. But first, we're going to make sure you and your mother are safe. Together. On the ship to Coruscant, Shmi can barely believe it. Master Jedi, I don't know how to thank you. He has a great destiny, but he needs his mother to guide him. The Jedi teach that attachment leads to the dark side. I believe they're wrong. I believe love can be a strength, and I'm going to prove it. Master, the Council will object. They'll say Anakin is too old, too attached. Then I'll overrule them. As Grand Master, I have that authority. Anakin will be trained. His mother will remain close. And we'll show the Order that their fear of attachment is what truly leads to darkness, not the attachment itself. The council session is exactly as Qui-Gon predicted. The boy is 9 years old. Mace protests. Far too old to begin training. I was 7 when I began, Dooku counters. The age restriction is tradition, not law. He has too much attachment to his mother. And that attachment will keep him grounded. Give him something to protect, a reason to stay in the light. This is unprecedented. I am Grand Master. I am invoking my authority. Anakin Skywalker will be trained. His mother will live on Coruscant, in a comfortable apartment we provide. Anakin will live in the temple but visit her regularly, and we will prove that love does not lead to darkness. Yoda, silent until now, speaks. Trust Grand Master Dooku's judgment, I do. Trained Qui-Gon well, he did. Perhaps right about this, he is. The council reluctantly agrees. Shmi is given an apartment in the Senate district. Comfortable. Safe, near enough that Anakin can visit. Anakin begins his training as Dooku's new Padawan. Qui-Gon helps 3 generations of Jedi working together. Dooku trains Anakin carefully, watching for signs of the darkness, the anger, the fear. But those signs never come. Because Anakin has his mother, has stability, has love without abandonment. When he's afraid, he talks to Shmi. She comforts him, guides him. When he's angry, Dooku teaches him to process that anger, not suppress it, understand it, control it. Anger is natural, Dooku tells him during one lesson. The question is, what do you do with it? Do you let it control you, or do you acknowledge it and choose a better path? I choose the better path. Good, remember that. Always. Years pass. Anakin grows, becomes a Padawan, then a knight. He never falls, never rages, never loses himself, because he has everything Vader never had. A mother, a master who loves him, friends who support him. Dooku watches him grow with pride and relief. I saved you, he thinks. I saved everyone. But one threat remains. 10 years after finding Anakin. 22 BBY. Anakin is 19. A Jedi Knight. Balanced. Strong. Happy. He never married Padme Amidala. They're friends. She respects him. But there's no forbidden attachment. No secret marriage. No fear of loss. Shmi lives peacefully on Coruscant. Works with freed slaves, helping them integrate into society. The Clone Wars never happened. No separatist crisis. No galactic conflict. But Dooku's work isn't finished. His intelligence network, cultivated over 70 years, reports something disturbing. Sheev Palpatine, disgraced politician living in exile on Naboo, has been searching for Sith artifacts. Dooku investigates personally, takes Anakin and Qui-Gon with him. They travel to Naboo, to Palpatine's estate, smaller now, humbler, but still his. They enter at night, find the hidden basement. Inside, Sith holocrons, ancient texts, dark side relics. Palpatine has been teaching himself. Years of study, years of practice. He never had a master, never learned the rule of 2, but he's been experimenting with Force lightning, mind tricks, basic Sith techniques. He's dangerous, not Sidious-level dangerous, but dangerous enough. Dooku, Anakin, and Qui-Gon confront him in his study. Palpatine looks up from his desk, sees 3 Jedi. His expression hardens. Grand Master Dooku, I should have known you'd come eventually. You've been practicing the dark side, Sheev. That ends tonight. You destroyed my political career, ruined my life. What else do you want from me? I want to ensure you never become what you could have been. Dooku steps forward. In another timeline you became Darth Sidious. the most powerful Sith Lord in history. You destroyed the Jedi Order, conquered the galaxy, turned this boy, he gestures to Anakin, into Darth Vader, a monster in a suit who murdered children. Palpatine stares. You're insane. Am I? Then explain how I knew about your Naboo conspiracy 20 years before it happened. How I knew to destroy Hego Damask's empire before he could train you. How I've been ahead of you at every turn. You've been manipulating events for decades. Yes, because I've seen the future, and you're not in it. Palpatine's hand moves to his desk drawer, pulls out a crude lightsaber. Red blade ignites. I've been practicing, Palpatine says. I may not have had a master, but I'm not helpless. He attacks. Force lightning crackling from his free hand. Lightsaber swinging with raw, untrained fury. But he's fighting 3 Jedi, one of whom was trained by both Yoda and Sith experience. Dooku parries effortlessly. Form 2. Makashi, precision perfection. Every strike deflected. Every attack countered. Qui-Gon flanks. Form IV. Ataru, acrobatic strikes from unexpected angles. Anakin attacks directly. Form V. Gemso, overwhelming power. Palpatine can't defend against all 3. He's had 20 years to teach himself. They've had lifetimes of proper training. Within 30 seconds, Palpatine is disarmed. On his knees, defeated. He tries Force Lightning. Dooku absorbs it with his bare hands. Tutominus, a technique he learned as Tyrannus. You're not a Sith Lord, Sheev. You're just a broken man who craved power and never got it. Palpatine glares up at him. You should have killed me decades ago. Perhaps. But I don't kill unnecessarily. You'll stand trial. Face justice. Spend the rest of your life answering for what you tried to become. Bring him to Coruscant. The trial is swift. Evidence of Sith artifact possession. Dark side practice. Attempted assault on Jedi. Palpatine is sentenced to life imprisonment on a remote moon. Maximum security. No possibility of escape. As he's led away, he looks back at Dooku. I could have been great, you stole that from me. No, I saved the galaxy from you. There's a difference. Palpatine disappears into custody, forever. That evening, Dooku stands on the temple balcony with Yoda. Sensed great darkness I did, Yoda says. But gone now it is. Your doing, this was. I did what needed to be done, Master. Seen the future, you have. Difficult this knowledge must be. It was, but I used it to save everyone. Even Palpatine. From himself. At peace now, are you? Dooku looks at the sunset. Thinks of everyone he saved. Sifo-Dyas. Qui-Gon, Anakin. Shmi, billions who would have died in wars that never happened. Not yet, Dooku says, but I will be. 10 years later, 12 BBY, Dooku is 88 years old, retired from the council, but still revered as the Order's greatest living master. He walks through the temple gardens with his cane. His body is old now, but his mind is sharp, his purpose fulfilled. The galaxy has been transformed. Without the Clone Wars, trillions of lives were saved. The Republic reformed itself. Dooku's decades of political maneuvering forced transparency, accountability, justice. The Jedi Order is stronger. Dooku's reforms allowed attachment, family, love. Jedi can marry openly now. Can maintain relationships with loved ones. The Order has grown, no longer isolated monks, engaged citizens who protect the galaxy while remaining connected to it. Anakin Skywalker approaches, 29 years old, Jedi Master. Council member, he has a wife. Padme Amidala, married openly with the Order's blessing. 2 children, Luke and Leia, both Force-sensitive, both being raised with love. Shmi walks with them. Grandmother to the twins, still healthy, still free, still happy. Master Dooku, Anakin greets him warmly. The children wanted to see you. Luke and Leia run to him. 5 years old, full of energy. Master Dooku, tell us a story. Dooku smiles, settles onto a bench. The children sit at his feet. Very well. Let me tell you about a man who walked a dark path and lost everything. He tells them a parable, simplified, appropriate for children, but true, about a man who served evil masters, who was betrayed, who was given a second chance. about how one person with patience and wisdom can change the entire galaxy. The children listen wide-eyed. When the story ends, Luke asks, "Did the man succeed?" "Yes. He saved everyone he failed before." "How?" "By remembering the cost of failure. And refusing to fail again." Padme joins them. "Master Dooku, the Chancellor wants to honor you at the Senate. For your lifetime of service." "I don't need honors. You deserve them. You've shaped this republic into something better than it was." Qui-Gon approaches, 56 years old, still active, training the next generation. "Master, students are asking for you. They want to hear your wisdom." "My wisdom?" Dooku chuckles. "I'm just an old man who got lucky. You're more than that. You're the reason we're all here. The reason the Order survived. The reason the galaxy is at peace." That night, Dooku meditates alone in his quarters. He reaches into the Force, feels its presence. Calm, balanced. No Sith shadows, no creeping darkness. Just light, life, hope. He thinks of the execution on the invisible hand, the betrayal, the final realization that he meant nothing to Sidious. "Treachery is the way of the Sith," he whispers. "But I proved there's another way." He thinks of everyone he saved. Sifo-Dyas, alive, healthy, serving the Order for 60 years. Qui-Gon, uncorrupted, a true Jedi, happy. Anakin, balanced, loved, never fallen. Shmi free, grandmother witnessing her grandchildren grow. The Jedi Order, reformed, stronger, connected. The Republic, saved from dictatorship, thriving in peace. And Palpatine, imprisoned, neutralized, powerless. "I won," Dooku says quietly. "The galaxy is free. And I am finally at peace." He closes his eyes, feels the Force surrounding him. Yoda's presence touches his mind. His master, long dead, one with the Force. "Proud of you I am," Yoda's voice whispers. "Rest now, earned it you have." Dooku smiles. "Thank you, Master, for giving me the chance to be better than I was." He breathes deeply, lets the Force flow through him. In another timeline, he died on his knees, a pawn, disposable, meaningless. In this timeline, he lived as a true Jedi, saved billions, reformed the Order, stopped the Sith forever. Sidious, he thinks. You never existed. Vader never existed. The Empire never rose. The genocide never happened. I have won. Completely. Absolutely. And you can never take that from me. The sun sets over the Jedi Temple. Dooku sits in peaceful meditation. His purpose is complete. His mission accomplished. His redemption earned. The Force is balanced. The galaxy is saved. And Count Dooku, once Darth Tyranus, betrayed Sith Lord turned greatest Jedi, can finally rest. He opens his eyes one last time, looks at the sunset, feels the warmth. I was given a second chance, he says softly, and I used it to save everyone. That's all that matters. He closes his eyes. The Force surrounds him, warm, accepting, peaceful. And Dooku, at last, lets go. His body relaxes, his breathing slows, his presence in the Force shifts, transforms. He becomes one with the Force, not in death, but in transcendence. His consciousness expands, touches all the lives he saved, all the futures he changed, all the hope he preserved. Somewhere in the Force he hears laughter, children playing, families living, peace enduring, the galaxy he saved, the galaxy he protected, the galaxy he gave everything to preserve. And Dooku knows, with absolute certainty, that his sacrifice was worth it. The last Sith Lord who became the greatest Jedi. The aristocrat who used his power for others. The betrayed servant who destroyed his betrayers before they could betray him. Count Dooku, Darth Tyranus, Grand Master, hero, finally at peace. Let us know what you'd like to see next. The end.